Hey guys, so here it is, my very first review for this channel. I'm gonna be reviewing a comic book, Power Rangers Soul of the Dragon by Kyle Higgins. So, if you're not reading the comic books already, it's fantastic. It's what got me back into Power Rangers when I left for a long time. The comic books are so well written and so fantastic, and it's kind of like what you remember the show being, but actually good. Sorry, when you go back and watch Power Rangers, it's not the best. Take out nostalgia, eh. But these comics are fantastic. Now, if you don't know, this is the OGN, and it's basically I don't like saying Old Man Logan style series, because if you don't know Old Man Logan, it's a story about Wolverine in like 50 years in the future, and he's kind of sad, and stuff happened, and anyway, people compare that a lot because Tommy in this story is older. But you can have stories about older people and dealing with life trouble and not be Old Man Logan. They've been doing that since the old westerns. Anyway, this book is about Tommy. I want to say he's in his late 50s, early 60s, and he's kind of like he lost his job and he's trying to discover who he is right now. And his son works for SPD. He's not a ranger, but he works for SPD. And I want to start off actually with the bad, because I like this comic book, but I don't love it. And the reason behind that is the art. It's not terrible art, but I just feel like for this kind of special event, they've never done just a regular trade, straight to trade, not like issues. And I feel like this deserved more crisper art, if that makes any sense. And some people disagree with me. That's fine, of course. I hope you do. Comment, talk to me about it. But I feel like the art just could have been better and a little more inspired. And I feel like the book itself was a little rushed. I think it's 90 pages, and I just feel like it could have been, 10, 20 more pages, and you get the story a little more flushed out. Some scenes were like, boom, 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 change to that ranger, change to that ranger. So I don't want to get into spoilers yet. I want to just talk about the basic of the story. And those two things is what I don't like. Everything else I love about this. The story is great. The character is great. The characterization of Tommy in his older years is great. I like all the different characters. I love the surprise characters you see. And if you're a Ranger fan, of course, buy this. And I know, some people are tired of Tommy. Well, guess what? That guy, Jason David Frank, he earned the right to be looked at the way he's looked at. He came back to Power Rangers when it wasn't cool. He went to conventions when it wasn't cool. He's earned his spot to be looked at the way he is. So if you're a Tommy fan, obviously, you probably already know about this book. And if you're a Ranger fan, it's definitely worth the buy. I believe this one, $20. I wish it was a hardcover, because again, it's special. It's the first, trade. But it's a good book. It's solid. It's definitely solid. I just wish little nitpicky things that could have made it a little more of an event. The special, look, it's this big trade we're putting out for the first time ever, but that's just, little qualms. If I had to rate it, I'd say 7.5 out of 10 is what I give it. So, if you don't want any spoilers, stop right now. Thank you for joining me, and please comment and like and subscribe and give it all to your friends. Now we're going to get into spoilers and the things that I really loved about this story, and it's the characters. When you meet Tommy and you see that he's losing his job and his wife is Kat, not Kimberly, which I agree with. Kimberly left him a effing letter and then ditched him. That's not cool. This girl stuck by her side, I guess. Now, I love their relationship. I like that you can tell they've been married for a while and they know each other, like their backhand, and it seems real, and I like that. And I like the relationship with his son, because it's, again, very real. His son's like, hey, I want to see you, son, but he's always too busy for him. That's what happens in real life, just it is. Now, in this story, if you don't already know, JJ, his son, goes missing. So he's kind of like, oh, I'm a ranger, I'm gonna go find my son. And you find out he has the Master Morpher, which we saw in Dimensions in Danger, I believe. And with this Morpher, he can turn into any ranger he's been in the past. So, 5 rangers. And we see all 5 rangers throughout the story. The catch is, every time he uses one of the power coins to change, it dissolves, and he loses that power forever. I did and didn't like this, because it does close the door on him ever being those Rangers again, officially, but that is also kind of the point of the story about moving on, so I accept it, whatever. What I didn't like is, it felt rushed. I get the first time he used it because he didn't know the side effect. So he was the Black Dino Thunder Ranger, and then he's like, oh, well, I should be a little more careful. But then he turns into Turbo really fast, and that's gone. And he turns into Zeo, which that one was a little more justified. And then he turns into White, and that one felt a little less justified. Now, in the end, I love the ending. I love that he didn't turn to green. He actually gave it to his son to turn to green, kind of like literally passing the torch. But what I loved more in this story, when you meet Finster and you see what happened to him after Zordon exploded and changed all the bad guys good. And I love the characterization of Finster and what he is now and how remorseful he is. And I was, again, heartbroken for the second time this year that Finster dies, because he died when he was Finster 5. He was killed by Lord Draken, and it was really sad. And I totally did not see Scorpina coming back. I love that. That was a great callback, because Scorpina kind of disappeared, because I guess they ran out of Japanese footage of her. So that was really great that she was kind of like the new Rita. And I loved that they brought in the devil, Satan, from the Sentai as the guy behind the scenes, because that was really, really nice touch. So most of the stuff in this story really worked for me. I love at the end where his son becomes the SPD Green Ranger. It did feel a little weird because there already is an SPD Green Ranger, so you're just adding a gold shield, you know, but whatever. But I love that his son, not fully, but kind of felt like he was in his dad's shadow, you know, and he was. His dad's the greatest ranger of all time, and you have to live up to it. Because I guess in SPD everyone knows who he is. It's a little unclear in the future who knows who was a ranger, you know. I think it's supposed to be 25-25, I don't know. So I, for the most part, I liked all of that. I loved the characters, loved the story, loved the action. It was just, I feel like if it had a little more time to breathe, you could have got more information about other characters, you know, other Rangers, where are they now? A little more into his brain, a little more into JJ's brain about how he feels about all this stuff going on. And I feel like we could have just saw a little more of what the result of being a Ranger for the past whatever years has done to the world. We see SPD, we see where it's grown. Literally, it's like a big spiraling tower that reaches outside the planet, sure. But I just felt like we could have seen a little more world building with this. Like, why is the world this way? We could have, like, had some more flashbacks about the steps between Dimensions in Danger and this story, Soul of the Dragon. But again, I don't want it to sound like I don't like the story. I do. I really like it. Kyle Higgins is a fantastic writer. I mean, Shattered Grid was fantastic. Shattered Grid's an amazing story. It's probably the best Power Ranger story ever, I think, when I put it all out there. Not including Sentai, because Sentai has some really, really great stuff. But when it comes to Power Rangers, Shattered Grid is probably the best story ever. I'll definitely do a review about that later. But right now, I'm talking about Soul of the Dragon. And again, the art isn't terrible. There's some scenes that I really like when you see the poses. You know, there's some artwork that I think is amazing. And then there's just some I feel like it just could have been a little better. I felt a little weird that after you read the whole story, they also give you like half of issue 1 of Mighty Morphin. Like, I get it, you're selling it, but like, that was 4 years ago? 3-4 years ago? It's kind of weird. Like, if you're reading this, you probably know there's a comic book. You don't have to sell me on the other comic book. But again, like the design for the SPD Green Ranger. I think he looks really cool. I think Tommy looks great, you know, with the big coat. And I just wish it had a little more time. I hope this is like a test run for future trade-only stories where they can just add a little bit more juice to it, you know. And that's my review of Soul of the Dragon. Thank you guys for joining me. I'll see you next time where I'll be reviewing, I think, one of my toys. I should be getting some new toys this weekend. Some legacy items that are being reissued. So I'll see you guys then. Bye.